If there is one thing that I love more about the world of gin than gin itself, it is all the amazing experiences I get all the time when working with gin. And these 3 gins are a very good example of that. Gins from Tranum Mølle Destilleri. Let me tell you why that is. Hi guys, and welcome to High on Gin. The world of gin is so much more to me than gin itself. I cannot count the number of sweet, enthusiastic, open-hearted people that I have met over the years. And my meeting with Tranum Mølle Destilleri in the northern parts of Denmark is another great experience that I will add to my long list of great meetings. It was my very, very good friend, Grabows Gin, that I also met through gin, that asked me if I wanted to go visit his local distillery. And of course I said yes. The distillery is owned by Ulrik and Hanne, the sweetest and most hospitable people that you can imagine. The distillery is located in the old mill of Tranum from, I think, the 19th century. The mill is part of their own home, and immediately as you enter the tasting room, you feel that you're now being welcomed into their private home. And hey, actually, you are. As a matter of fact, I was sitting in the chair where Hanne's aunt normally sits. That is how cozy and welcoming this place is. There is nothing mass-produced or staged storytelling about this place at all. The technical setup is a very small but a very efficient setup, which, with this little pot still and 2 smaller Olympic still. But I think that's the cool thing about gin. It doesn't have to be big to do great things. I think the distillery's slogan should be less is more or something like that, which is, very appropriate here. Ulrik compares his way of creating the gin with the Italian kitchen. A few really good ingredients in a well-balanced order can make wonders if you treat them gently and with respect. And that statement, I think, is best described in their base gin or house gin called Trinity, because that one is made with only 3 botanicals: juniper, coriander seed, and angelica. And the result is such a cool and very well-balanced classic gin that has so much to offer. Grabows Gin and I did their tasting event, and I can only recommend that you do the same. If you're in the neighborhood, you really should join one of these open 2-hour-long gin tastings, where you get to taste all 7 gins. And besides the 7 gins that you taste, you also get to see their little distillery, you get acquainted with some of the used gin botanicals, you get interesting stories about gin, and you get some really great gin and tonics on top of it all. And here's the most crazy part. It's just 100 kroner, or well, about 15 euros to join. But let's take a closer look at some of their gins. I got 3 bottles here today: the Botanic Gin, the Scuttlebutt Gin, and the Spice Gin. All of these can, of course, be served with, regular tonic, but Hanne really likes to surprise her guests and make the servings, I guess, more festive. So let me introduce you to these 3 gins by serving them how Hanne also serves them. But, they're made so it's very, very easy to make, so you can do it at home or in your caravan or in your summer house, wherever you want to serve them. So let's get to it. First up is the Botanic Gin, a London dry gin with an ABV of 47%. And this one here is based on their Trinity Gin, so the foundation is a very good and classic gin. And then they have added some additional Seville oranges that really boosts and adds this warmer citrus layer to the gin, some fennel seeds and a few cardamom pods that gives this sense of fresh licorice to the gin. And Hanne serves this one with 4 centiliters of Botanic Gin, sliced strawberries, lots of ice, and then 12 to 15 centiliters of fever tree elderflower tonic. Or if you have made your own elderflower lemonade at home, use that and then just top it off with a sweeter tonic water. And then she garnishes with this, the licorice pipe, very popular here in Denmark. If you don't have that, just buy some sweet licorice and put it into the gin here. The result, it's a very refreshing gin and tonic, perfectly for a sunny day on the terrace. The licorice pipes, if you leave it there, it will really add an additional boost of licorice, especially in your nose. And if you add even more strawberries into this big copper glass here, and you give your guest a little small fork, you can serve this as a dessert instead. Pretty clever, I would say. Next up is the Scuttlebutt Gin. This gin here is a navy strength version of the Trinity gin at 57.1% ABV. And this gin here is named after the water barrel on a ship. You see, water for immediate consumption on sailing ships in the 19th century was conventionally stored in a scuttlebutt, a butt or cask which has been scuttled by making a hole in it so water could be tapped. And since sailors exchanged gossip when they were gathered at the scuttlebutt for a drink of water, scuttlebutt became the Navy slang for gossip or rumors. And I guess that if you drink too much of this here, you may even get a loose tongue yourself and share some gossip stories. So be careful with this one, right? I'm pretty sure that you have noticed this very beautiful indigo blue color here, and that is from the use of the butterfly pea blossom. The cool thing about this one here and this color here, that if you use a tonic that has some acidity to it, it changes into this beautiful purple color, a pretty cool party trick to impress your guests when serving a gin and tonic. So this serve here is a regular gin and tonic, but with this very cool, colorful party trick to it. I served this with Fever Tree Mediterranean tonic, as you can see, a slice of orange zest and a little twig of rosemary. And this gin here, as it is a high-proof gin, you only need about 3 to 4 centiliters when you do your gin and tonic. Ulrik also recommends to enjoy this gin here neat, with an ice cube and a sprig of rosemary, and I couldn't agree more. I think Navy strength gin should also be enjoyed neat. It's such a cool sipping gin. The third gin is the spice gin. The botanicals used in this gin are, besides the Trinity, the darker spices, star anise, allspice, and fennel seeds. And yes, it does sound a bit like Christmas, but it doesn't have to be. With this one here, you can go nuts and build on these darker spices in a very fun way. As an example, Hanne went back to the 80s and served this together with raspberry soda and orange juice. It is a combination of the drink Tequila Sunrise and the drink Pernod and red soda. But even how strange it may sound, the gin with a touch of star anise in it, it really does the job greatly. If your guest doesn't like the bitterness from a tonic, or if you want to serve a more cocktail-oriented drink, well, this is a fun way to go. You know, when you taste it, you really get the combo of the two cocktails. It really tastes like there is a drop of Pernod in this drink here. And then this raspberry soda and the juice. It really is fun, and it really is like the 80s. You can also serve the spice gin together with a tonic and a shot of chilled espresso, or at Christmas time, use the gin together with warmed red wine and some cane sugar. This gin is made for, well, I guess, new and adventurous drinks besides a regular gin and tonic. And on their website, you will find a lot of cool, easy to make drinks with all their different gins. So guys, there you have it. 3 slightly different serves with 3 great gins. If you ask me what my favorite is, well, it all depends what mood I'm in. Maybe it would be the blue Scuttlebutt, I don't know. But you know what? I love having alternatives for my guests, and I can only repeat what I've been saying again and again. Go visit Hanne and Ulrik and their little distillery and have a great time with these guys and their good collection of gin. And here is a final tip for you guys out there. If you have a dream of having your own gin and you have a particular idea for a gin, they do private label gins from just 25 bottles and up. Well, small setups has its advantages. Until next time.